Good day, Techzim followers. Welcome to the latest edition of the Techzim podcast. Today we are talking about the event we just had 12 hours ago, actually. The first ZOL Startup Challenge Meetup. This was an event introduction. We were talking about the format of the event. For this podcast, we're joined by our usual suspects, Saul Kabweza.
Hey.
And William Chu.
Howdy.
I'm your host, Nigel Gambanga. And gentlemen, what did you think about last night's event?
Explosive, interesting in a couple of ways. The questions, what people are curious about in terms of the startup ecosystem, building a startup and stuff. Quite interesting. So I think quite the start to the startup challenge this year. Yeah.
Well, for me, definitely it was a lot to do with the venue, the atmosphere. I mean, being held at Area 46 and the whole fireside chat theme.
A literal
fireside. Fires all over. And guess what? It wasn't caused because of Zesa. We do have this challenge in Zimbabwe where we are forced to have candle dinner, But this wasn't that. It was something that we had orchestrated with the team at Area 46. Food was on point. The speeches / presentations were top notch. We had David Beer, the ZOL CEO, breaking it down in terms of ZOL's involvement and how long term this is. It's not just we in it for the glory kind of a thing, and once we get what we're looking for, we're going to be gone. But definitely pledging their long term support to it. And the new format that was presented, I'm like, wow, this whole nationalistic overlook of it, that guys that are in Murambinda, guys that are in Binga, guys that are in Gwanda, in Cholocho, all these areas now have an opportunity to come and pitch. And the best thing about it is that this is no longer tech alone. I mean, if your startup is on anything,
True.
definitely. So yeah, it was wow for me.
I think the biggest takeaway was, how after the presentations, after the fireside chat, everyone had a chance to, bump heads and share ideas and talk about what the whole challenge means in terms of how it's contributing to the ecosystem. Talks on mentorship, things that were highlighted by Change in the fireside chat. Things like teamwork that were also emphasized even by Saul in his own presentation. And, ZOL's involvement is what David touched on. Their passion for, letting broadband and connectivity be part of the whole picture and how it's going to drive the whole growth of the ecosystem in terms of tech startups. I love the whole atmosphere. Didn't get a chance to nibble on the food, but it looked like it was something to die for. But there was a lot of work that happened behind the scenes.
Sure.
Area 46, those guys were on point. Joseph he put in a lot of work into it, a lot of effort, and even the response and feedback that we got from the people afterwards. People were talking about how they love the whole national appeal you talked about, and how it's for everyone. How their challenge is reaching out to people who are not necessarily keen on tech, but they've got business ideas. Because at the end of the day, startups are SMEs first, and
Correct.
IT businesses later. That's what it is.
I think so. Having Techzim previously hosted 3 startup challenges, this being the 4th, what would you say the turnout was just for the introduction format? I know this is a totally new format, but you guys have been doing the startup challenge for the past 3 years. This is its 4th year. The turnout, what was it like for you? Encouraging, promising? It wasn't too much of a cold Thursday evening,
Look, first, it's the change in format for us at Techzim is a key thing in 2 ways: the guidance before the pitching and the support after the pitching. So, which is why we're starting more than 3 months before the pitching, so that there's time to help people understand what the objective is, how people understand what a good startup is, the whole concept of having a team, the whole concept of being committed to it, of not putting too much emphasis on the idea and the technology, but emphasis on the execution. So we're excited from that standpoint. But looking at yesterday, I think the 3 years have built consistency and expectation of something actually comes out of this. So for me, the turnout yesterday was, well, it did blow my mind in terms of, you know, you have like 120 plus people that come on a Thursday evening, and this not exactly central place in terms of the city, but people do come this far. So that's like the confidence that people have in the process. The people can see that there have been startups that are now sustainable, that have been through this process, startups that have managed to link up, open doors, develop their products further. So I think that has spoken about what the opportunity on the internet is, as opposed to the time before where it was, a bunch of geeks, bunch of people that think the internet and mobile are platforms that can do anything, but really what is being done. So that is clear that it's here. The future is here. Definitely. The internet, mobile platforms are going to build new value for ecosystems in Africa, the ecosystems locally, and especially as a country that's in a funny situation now economically, cash flow challenges, liquidity issues and stuff. What an opportunity.
So with all of this that's been happening, what's coming up next? I mean, we know we're headed to Bulawayo, right? Same format, same challenge meetup, right? What happens after that? That's what everyone is asking on every platform: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc.
True. So what happens after that? There are two key things that should happen. The one key thing is that we need to open for the application so that people start applying for the ZOL Startup Challenge 2014. But before we do that, we would like to explain more what building a business model for product that is based on the internet or based on mobile devices, or at least uses technology to enable reaching of customers and stuff. What that means and how you can do that. Ways that we have learned, ways that mentors and judges and a number of people that we are gathering around to help the startups have learned over the years, especially people that have been involved in this ecosystem. So what is building a business model? And then the other key thing is what kind of models are possible on mobile, on the internet, in terms of how do you monetize your startup?
Sure. Can I ask perhaps in your next events in the run up to the whole pitching, the big finale that's going to take place in November, the training and mentorship that is going to take place, is this can somebody attend and be able to streamline their business, albeit not for the pitch? So we're saying, look, gentlemen, this is how you can build your startup, whether it's to do with the business canvas, whether it's to do with lean startup, however it is, this is how you need to look at running your business. This is how you need to bootstrap. This is how you need to do A, B, and C, and not just perfecting somebody's pitch, but where somebody who can attend that can gain something long-term for their business. Is that what's going to take place?
Definitely. A lot of that. Previous winners and attendees of the previous 3 editions of Startup Challenge all would say one thing after the challenge. They would say, the big takeaway for me, even though I've won, is not the money. The big takeaway for me is that I've learned so much about how to build a business. I've learned so much about the local ecosystem and the value chains, and how I can make myself relevant in those value chains. And even for people that didn't win, they'd be like, you know what? Three pitches into the Startup Challenge, I was totally not caring about the prize anymore.
Sure.
I was learning so much and interacting so much with other startups, interacting with the judges, interacting with the mentors, and finding out that there's this whole other side to building a startup that I was not aware of. And in terms of, training on the pitching, training on business, on building a business, pitching just doesn't happen at the ZOL Startup Challenge. So when you approach a Startup Challenge judge or panel of judges and you're pitching your idea, you are pitching to a typical investor. You are pitching to a typical mentor that might want to assist you. Sure. So the things that they want to know, they want to know. You've put your mind to it. You've thought through the business. You're thinking about things that matter. You can see yourself in the market. You can see you've gone into the market. You've asked customers. You've understood those things. Those are the same things that any investor cares about.
Correct.
And how fast you are able to communicate that and effectively are able to communicate that is the same way it would work with any investor. So, look, to be honest, I've been in situations in the Startup Challenge where, we're organizing, we're on the side, we're making sure that everything is running smoothly. And I'm sitting there and I'm seeing this startup pitch and I'm thinking, wow, I would give anything to be in that guy's place right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So there's so much that we're looking forward to.
Yeah.
And we want everyone who's really keen on all of this to, keep track of what we're doing. We're going to be posting so much about it on the website, www.techzim.co.zw, or follow us on social media, Facebook.
Twitter has a hashtag.
Yes. It's hashtag ZOL Challenge. And it's the same Twitter handle we're using yesterday for the event. And we live stream the event as well. There's going to be a lot of material on this YouTube as well. Check out not only this podcast, this video cast, but everything else to do with the Startup Challenge up until the big finale in November. In case you missed last night's event, we've got a couple of clips from what was happening. We've got comments and views from everyone who was attending, from the guys behind the scenes, the guys who put the event together, and the guys who were watching the fireside chats and participating. So check it out here.
Matthew Hood from WebDev and Pay Now, and Limbakani told me about the event, and we were very interested in coming and seeing it and meeting devs and hopefully speaking to them about online payments and the things that we're getting involved in, because I think it's a great opportunity in Zim for the devs to get into that sort of thing, and it'll be a useful product for all the startups.
Chenjerai Katanda, CEO, founder of School Sports Network, winners of the 2013 ZOL Startup Challenge. To this year's participants, our advice is be as dynamic as you can, be as creative as you can, bring those ideas forward and get all the feedback you can. And your best tool would be how effective you work on that feedback. And if you do that, I'm sure we'll be celebrating with you in November when you win the Startup Challenge.
Hi, I'm Robson Shumba. I'm very excited actually to be part of the event, the ZOL meetup that we had tonight. The ZOL Startup Challenge, I think, is very vital for the next generation, because if we don't build the next generation, there'll be nobody else to build them. There are a lot of people who have great ideas, but they won't get the ideas out there until they have somebody to mentor, coach them, build them, nurture them, give them a hand up. Many times we think people need handouts, but they actually need a hand up.
I'm Rumbi, marketing officer from ZOL, Zimbabwe, the name sponsor of the Startup Challenge. It's exciting to see new ideas come into life. I mean, it was good to see the success stories that came up, that shared their experiences. And if we're going to do anything to improve the economy, this is like one of the items or one of the things that we actually can do to play our part into making our country and our economy a better place.